how we represent these binary trees. That means how we are going to implement these binary trees. Binary trees can be represented in two ways, that is array representation and linked list representation. If you look at this particular slide, you can have an idea that this is the same method as if we are implementing the stacks and queues. As I told that stacks can be implemented in two methods, that is by using the array implementation or by using the linked list implementation. Similarly, when you come across this concept of queues, so queues can also be implemented using array representation and linked list representation, right? The same concept is applied. Therefore, a binary tree is also represented with arrays as well as linked lists also. Very easy topic. How we are going to represent it with arrays? That's what we are discussing right now. So what are the two ways of representing the binary trees? That is, first method is array representation and the second method is linked list representation, right? So let me explain the array representation, right? So if you take a binary tree and after numbering the things or after numbering the binary trees, you have to store this binary tree inside an array. This is what is array representation, right? How you are going to store the binary tree in the arrays. This is the concept of array representation. The concept is very straightforward concept where you will make use of the indexing concept of the arrays. You know the indexing, right? Whenever you declare an array, the compiler will look at the how we are correlating the indexing of arrays with node numbering. This is nothing but array representation, right? We know how to give the numbering to the binary tree. That means you have to start from number 1 and you have to go up to 2 power h plus 1 minus 1. This is the first point, and the second point is you have to start from the top level. That means you have to start numbering the nodes from level 0, that is nothing but the root, right? After that you have to go to level 1, after that you have to go to level 2. That means the node numbering should always be done from top to bottom only. Similarly, the last point, while filling the or while numbering the nodes in the same level, you have to fill it from the left to right only. By following these three properties, what is the root node number? It should always be 1, right? So what you will do is you will store the root in the first index. We know the indices of the array starts with 0, therefore we won't bother about the 0 index. Why? Because the root node is always stored, or the root node is always given a number of 1. Therefore you store the value of root node inside index 1 of the array, and then you go to the next level. The left child of 1 is nothing but 2, which you will store it inside the second index, and the right child of node 1 is 3, which you will store it in the third index. Like that you will continue. Therefore the node number is nothing but the corresponding index number. For example, if you take the root, it is having a node number of 1. What is the index you are storing it? It is nothing but 1. Similarly, if you want to have the index number of node 3, it's nothing but the node number, which is 3, right? So let me have a example on this. So this is how we represent the binary tree using arrays, right? So what is the node value here? Node value is different from node number. Please have a look at this example. It is very clear that the node value is A. That means you are storing a value of A inside that node. Similarly, the node value of this node is B. The node value of this node is C. For example, if you are given this binary tree, what you have to do is the first step is you give the node numbering by following the rules which we have discussed earlier. You have to number the nodes. The root node is always given a number of 1, and then you start with the next level, and from the left hand side, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on, right? This is an example of binary tree. Perfect. And after you are given a binary tree, the first step what you have to do is you have to give the numbering for the nodes, and then step 2 is nothing but simple thing. You have to correlate the What you have to correlate? You have to correlate the node numbers and indices. So we have this array, right? 3 of what it can be have any size, right? For example, 20 you take or 10 you take. So since the root node in number is 1, you forget about this first index. You leave the first index of the array. So you store the node value which is represented by the node number 1 in index 1. Right? Therefore, A is stored in 1. Similarly, if you want to store this node value B, according to the node numbering, we have a node number of 2 here. Therefore, it should be stored in the index 2. Similarly, you go to C. It is having a node number of 3. Therefore, it should be stored in 3. D, node number is 4, stored in index 4. E, node number 5. Therefore, it is stored in 5th index. F, 6, 7. G is 7, right? And similarly, H is having an index of 8. Therefore, it should be stored in index 8. Like that, 9 and 10, right? So, this is how we represent a binary tree using an array representation. Here we have a correlation, or we have a link between the index number and the node number. Therefore, one should be very clear about the node numbering concept of the binary trees if you want to represent it with a array representation, right? So very straightforward example, and you can observe the differences, or you can observe the disadvantages of representing the trees using arrays. We know the disadvantages of arrays. We have studied in the linked list concept. We have started, in fact, we have started our concept of explaining the linked lists by describing the disadvantages of arrays and advantages of linked lists, right? And we have described the differences between the arrays and linked lists also. Arrays are static in nature. That means you declare the array in a static fashion. That means one should have a clear idea on how many elements he is going to store in the array. In such case, arrays are useful, but arrays are completely waste in terms of dynamic nature. That means if the size of the objects are increasing in a dynamic fashion, nobody knows or nobody can predict how many elements we can store well in advance, right? In such cases, you have to go for the dynamic concept of linked list. And the second point which we have discussed is arrays makes lot of wastage of memory. This is one important point. Therefore, this is also we have explained that, for example, if you have declared an array of size 50, that means the compiler have allocated 50 into 4, that is equal to 200 bytes of memory is allocated. But you are storing just 10 elements inside that array. That means 10 into 4, only 40 bytes are being used. The remaining 40 into 4, that is 160 bytes are being wasted. Therefore, there is a lot of wastage of memory inside the arrays, right? If you use the concept of arrays, right? So let me have the disadvantage of, let me discuss the disadvantage of representing the binary tree using the arrays, right? Coming to this example, we take this figure 1. This is figure 1 and this is figure 2, right? These are dummy nodes. This is very important concept. Please concentrate. These are dummy nodes. The original binary tree which you have is having just 3 nodes, that is A, B and C, where it is configured as A is having the right child as B and C is the right child of B. This is the original binary tree that is given. So to give the numbering to this binary tree, the first point is you have to start with the root node. Therefore, the root node should always be numbered as 1. That's I have satisfied. And the second point is you have to start giving the numbering level by level from top to bottom. So after first level, I start with this level. This is level 1, right? And according to the third point, while you fill the nodes with the numbers, you have to go from left to right only. But here you can see that there is no left child for A. So what you have to do is you have to assume that there is a left child for A. Therefore, this is called a dummy node. Therefore, we represent with a empty circle. The original nodes are represented with the blocked circles like ABC, and the edges of these dummy nodes are also represented with the dashed lines. And this is a full line, right? This is a dashed line. Therefore, this is dummy node. So you have to assume, this is very important, whenever there is no left child or right child for a particular node in the binary tree, you have to assume that there exists a dummy node inside it, right? Therefore, you draw a dashed line, dummy edge, and you draw a dummy node, and you have to give the numbering to the dummy node also, right? So the dummy node, the left child of A is dummy node, which is numbered as 2. Now you go to the right child of A, which is B, which is a original node. It's not a dummy node. Therefore, you have to give it as 3, right? Next go to next level. This is level 2. Level 2, right? So here for B only we are having C as the right child. There is no left child to B, and there is no these 4 and 5. There is no left child and right child to this dummy nodes. So what you have to do is you have to assume it as if there is a dummy node that is attached to the nodes. Therefore, for this dummy node 2, you assume that there are left dummy childs like left child and right child, and you number it. Therefore, this left child, dummy left child of 2 is given a number of 4, and the dummy right child of 2 is given a number of 5. Similarly, B is not having the left child. Therefore, you put a dummy node, which you number it as 0. And C is the original node, which is the right child of B, and you have to give the number as 7. This is very important. You should not forget it, right? So if there are no left childs or right childs, you have to assume that there exists the left child and right child, and you have to give the numbering for those things also, following the 3 rules which you have mentioned in the numbering of nodes, right? Without that, you will be there is a lot of chances that you will end up in a wrong answers. So you cannot give this number as 1, and since there is no left child, you cannot start this right child with number 2 and this C with number 3. This is very wrong concept, right? So we assume it as a dummy nodes and then you number it, right? So for this binary tree, the node numbers are only, the original node numbers are 1, 3 and 7, right? So if you start storing these node values inside this array, this is 0th index, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, right? So what is the node number of A? Which is nothing but A. Therefore, that should be stored in the corresponding index 1, that is stored. What is the node value of 2? The node value of 2 is nothing. It has nothing, right? Why? Because it is a dummy value. Therefore, you leave it as empty. This is empty. And if you go to this 3, B is having an index of node number of 3. Therefore, B should be stored in index 3. Similarly, we don't have any values for 4, 5 and 6. Therefore, you leave this as empty. And we have the last node C, which is numbered as 7. Therefore, it should be stored in 7th index, right? Similarly, you take this figure 2. Therefore, you can observe that out of these 8 values, the size of array is 8, right? Therefore, we have the index from 0 to 7. Out of these elements, total size is 8 into 4, that is 32 bytes. But we are storing only 3 elements, right? What is A, B and C. So 3 into 4, 12 bytes. So we just require 12 bytes, but we have allocated 32 bytes. Therefore, 20 bytes is wasted. So that is the disadvantage of representing the binary trees using array representation. Okay. For example, you go for this figure 2, right? A is having left child. Therefore, whatever is original node, those nodes should be represented in the array. And for those nodes which are not having the left child and right child, you make it as a dummy child and you give the numbering also. That's what you have to follow, right? So 1, 2, 3, 5 and 7. This is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. This is empty and this is empty. So if it is not a complete binary tree, we have wastage of memory. So this is the primary disadvantage of representing binary trees using arrays, right? Let me take one more example of right skewed binary tree. So this is the right skewed binary tree, and by following the concepts which we have gone through the previous slides, what you can do is you make a dummy node here and memory test 2, right? B is 3 and this is 4 and this is 5, this is 6, therefore this is 7. Now you go again, this is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and this is 14. All these things are dummy nodes. Therefore this becomes 15. Therefore the original binary tree is having the nodes at index 1, this one, and index 3, this one, and index 7 which is having a value of C, and index 15 which is having a value of D, right? So in case of skewed binary trees, whether it can be a left or right, left skewed binary tree or right skewed binary tree, you have a lot of wastage of memory. This is the major disadvantage of binary tree representation using arrays, right? So to avoid this disadvantage or to avoid this disadvantage or to overcome this disadvantage, we are going to represent the binary trees using one more representation which is called as linked representation. The name itself says that it is nothing but a linked list representation, right? So how you are going to represent the binary tree using linked list is the concept of linked list representation of binary trees, right? Very simple. As you know that a linked list is nothing but a collection of nodes. The nodes can be either divided into 2 parts or 3 parts. That's what we have discussed in the concept of linked list, right? It depends on the application. For example, if you are dealing with a single linked list, you should divide it into 2 parts. If you want to represent a doubly linked list, then you have to divide the node into 3 parts. There are some more parts you can give, right? For example, like this also you can give. That means the node consists of 5 different parts. It is also possible in case of advanced binary trees like B plus trees or something else like that. Okay. Then, so for a given binary tree, how many children are there? According to the definition of binary tree, a binary tree will have 2 children. That is, it can have a left child or it can have a right child, right? Therefore, this is one node, and this node is referring, or it should have a link to the same type of node, which is nothing but the concept of self-referential structures, right? So linked list is always implemented with a concept called as self-referential structures. So this left link should have a link towards the same node. Similarly, the right part should also have a link to the node of same type. From this, you are clear that, and the middle part, as I discussed, that it consists of data value, right? So you have to represent a binary tree node as a node consisting of 3 parts, where the left part is nothing but a link to the left child, and the right part is the link to the right child, right? And what about this middle one? It is nothing but the data part. So this is how we represent a node in a binary tree using linked list representation, and the remaining thing is very simple and straightforward. This is the most popular way to represent the binary tree. For example, if anybody asks you what is the best way of representing stacks, we have two ways of representing stacks or for implementing stacks, right? One is array and another one is linked list, right? The best method is linked list itself. If you don't consider the space constraints, if you don't worry about the space, most of the operations of linked list is better than the array representation. That's what we discussed in the differences of arrays and linked lists, right? Similarly, if you go to the concept of queues, there are two ways of implementing the queues, that is by using arrays and by using the linked list. If anybody asks you what is the best method, that is obviously it is linked list. Similarly, if you come across this concept, two ways, arrays and linked list, obviously the linked list will be the best method to implement any data structure, right? And coming to the second point, each element is represented by a node that has two link fields, as I told like this one. Each element or each node is represented by a node that has two link fields. One is to the left child and the other one is the right child plus one element field, which is nothing but the data part, right? And the space required by a n node binary tree is n into size of binary tree node, right? Size of each binary tree, for example, you take this node. What will be the size here? This is a link part, which is nothing but a pointer. Pointer occupies 4 bytes, and that too I am stressing that 4 bytes is architecture dependent. If I am working on a 32-bit or 64-bit, it varies, right? If I am working on a 16-bit architecture, then it varies, right? Let me take the pointer size as 4 bytes. Therefore, this is 4, this is 4, and let me take this as integer. Therefore, this is also 4. Therefore, a total of 12 bytes is required to represent a single node in a binary tree. So, for representing n nodes, what is the formula? N into 12, right? The same thing what he is describing. The space required to represent n node binary tree is n star size of binary tree node. In this example, the size of binary tree node is 12. Therefore, it becomes n star 12. Right? I think you are clear about it. Next. Very simple. There's a binary tree. There's a binary tree like this. This is A, this is B, and this is C. And B is having a left child D, and there is no right child to B, and C is not having the left child, but it is having a right child E, and after D we have F, and then E is having G, and then it is having H, right? So in order to represent this binary tree in the linked list representation, you have to represent each and every node or each and every element of the binary tree with a single node. Therefore, A is having a corresponding node, B is having a corresponding node, C, D, E, F, G, and H. So as I told in the previous slide, each and every node is divided into 3 parts, right? The middle part is the data part. Therefore, I am storing the node value A inside it. And it should have the left child and it should have the right child. Look at this one, right? The left child is with white and the element is with somewhat darker, and the right child is represented with more darker space or more darker color, right? So this is the left child. Since A is having left child, as you know that, assume that this is 100, this is 200, right? This is 300. These are the base addresses of the nodes. 600, this is 700, just for assumption, right? This is 800. Now A is having the left child as B. What is the address of B? Which is nothing but 200, right? So in such case, you have to store the value of this address. Therefore, the value that is present in the link part of the left child is nothing but 200. Therefore, there establishes a logical link over here. Similarly, if you go to the right child of A, which is nothing but C, you represent that C with a node which consists of 3 parts. and the base address of this node is 300. Therefore, you have to store 300 in the link part of right child of A. Now you go for B. B is having only left child and the node value is D. Assume that there is a node that is expressed here and assume that this is 400. That means the base address is established at 400. Therefore, in this part, you have to represent the value as 400. Now comes the new concept, right? The B is not having any right child. There is not the B does not have any right child. In such case, you should not represent it with a node. There is no node. If there is no node, you have to fill this particular part, the right link of this B, with some value. What is that value? Nothing but null, right? If there is no link to the left child or right child, you simply put a value which is called as null. Similarly, in case of C, C does not have any left child. Therefore, what is the value that has to be included here? Which is nothing but null. Similarly, C is having a link to 500 or a link to E, node E. Assume that the node E is present at 500. Therefore, this particular point or this particular right link should have a value of 500. Now you can go through it, right? This is 600, that means this value. And this is null. You continue the same process. Now it is a link to G which is stored at 700. Therefore, this value is 700. And this is null, and here F does not have any left child or right child. That means it is a leaf node. Therefore, both the values of left link and right link are represented with null. Similarly, G is not having any value. It is null, and G is having a link to the right child which is nothing but H, which is stored in 800. Therefore, 800 is this value. This H is also a leaf node, right? Therefore, left value is null and the right value is also null. So this is how we represent a binary tree. There is no wastage of memory, right? Why? Because there is no concept of storing the unavailable nodes. For example, if you take B, it doesn't have any right child. Therefore, we are not creating any node for that particular node, B as the right child. If you are not creating any node, then there is no wastage of space. But as I told in the linked list, you need some extra space. Some extra space is required. This extra space is for storing the link parts, that is left link and the right link. That is nothing but this extra space is for pointers, to store the pointers of left and right child, right? So this is the representation of binary tree using linked list. So we have a lot of advantages of representing the trees using linked list. The primary advantage is it includes all the advantages of linked list, right? And the very simple disadvantage we have here, and that is we need some extra space for storing the pointers of left and right child, right?